Later on in our tours, rising above the ship to the left. San Francisco is famous for great food, and Ghirardelli chocolate is part of that legend. Now with the farther along the shoreline, you'll see marquee buildings with red doors. Those appear the Fort Mason, one of several military locations made around the Bay today. John Martini is a San Francisco historian.
Alcatraz. There it is. There's Alcatraz right there. They had a bunch of famous prisoners. Prisoners who became famous in that little island right there. Go back to this side here, we can see. I would be tired if I was fishing. I haven't gone on a fishing trip in so long. Catch me, I'm always saying that thing about the bass. That would be something though. Go deep sea fishing. They go, this cargo ship coming through. Went to push me. Big head champion. Here's my son's champion right here. Hey, buddy. You want to get out? Yeah, the big head champion. The big head champion. Yeah, that's you right there. You ready to go in? We heard somebody yesterday talking about.
But here, on the Pacific shores, Spanish conquistadors
It's so windy out here too. Let's see. I'm literally out there swinging up.
Indiana Jones series, Pirates of the Caribbean. Let your eyes sweep across the bay. We are traveling back over 150 years when San Francisco was a sleeping town on a beautiful bay. It was sunlit. That was 1847, when a
it's about under the bay, under the Golden Gate Bridge. I think they said the water's about 300 feet deep.
Look back at this. Life in San Francisco was truly wild and woolly. At the heart of the map was a stretch of waterfront called the Barbary Coast. These three blocks were long on action and short on walk. In memoirs written years later, some people recall it as a place to gather. While others regard it
There's cigars, truer guns, pistols, larger dirt, rolling guns, pretty cocktails here in San Francisco. And the interest I have ever visited. The village of every nationality held high cards. It was a grand theater of crime, licentiousness, debauchery, vanity, misery, poverty, wealth, commodity,
Check it
This
out.
was the first great challenge. Building a concrete barrier. Building an area in the bay with
Told
wide
you.
open. Water was inside. That was the concrete. When they were completed, thousands
view.
of steel strands were bundled together, forming an enormous main cable. Starting at this end and working toward the middle.
Hey, I'm feeling the waves now, for real. At first, they're like baby waves. Now, I'm feeling it.
Day after day, in the cold, in the fog, in the rain. On major construction projects in those days, experience has shown that one workman usually died for every $1 million spent.
Hey,
$35 million.
check that out. About 50 waves are getting hard. We're about to go right under it now.
The 11 men who lost their lives during construction. 10 of them died in one accident when a 2-ton scaffold fell and tore through the net. The Golden Gate Bridge was less than 5 years
Right up there, look at it.
The War Department would not permit.
Yeah, there's there, right under it. See if you can see it this way. Now they will turn around then. Look at it.
Inspiring and recognizable as the statue.
When you're standing on that deck, you can feel it vibrate. You can feel it sway back and forth in the wind. The entire bridge hums.
Behind us here. Like you can see, that's the ocean out that way.
Standing looking up at those huge
Now we're
towers.
going back under the bridge.
Moaning in the wind. It's on fire.
Going back into the
That
bay.
name, by the way, came long before the bridge. John C. Fremont, soldier, explorer, and adventurer,
Said it was
named
700
the entrance
feet,
to San Francisco Bay
700 feet tall.
Golden
The
Gate
tower.
back in 1846. That was even before gold was discovered in California. Look to the north end of the Golden Gate Bridge, the side opposite San Francisco, and you'll see a rocky point with a building on it, just below the bridge. That's Line Point, the other side of the Golden Gate entrance, along with Fort Point.
Trying to get it that way.
Look again at the hills to the left of Line Point, the Marin Headlands.
Look at the hills.
Spend an afternoon on the hiking trails there, and you might see deer or even bobcats. Climb to the top of Hawk Hill any time of the year, and you'll have a glorious view of the Golden Gate. Visit in October, and you'll see magnificent birds of prey. Every fall, more than 100,000 hawks, eagles, and falcons soar overhead on their migration south.
Wow.
Now, let's all take a moment to enjoy this magnificent panorama. The
Check
sun
this
is
out.
out.
Pan
You'll
around.
see sails dotting the bay. In addition to its other
A
qualities,
little rock out there,
it's a
Alcatraz.
challenging playground for sailors and windsurfers alike.
Well, that area between
Keep
Crissy
going.
Field and Golden Gate Bridge and Fort Point has become one of the top windsurfing locations in the world. It's caused by the wind that just howls.
See the city right there.
A mix of waters trying to force their way into the harbor and also out simultaneously. The more churned up, the better. But it's not for amateurs.
Alright, folks, we're going to start making our way back toward Alcatraz. Should be there in about 15-20 minutes. So another perfect opportunity. Head on down to Adrian to make that snack bar, those beers and cocktails.
So now we're going over to Alcatraz.
Folks, specials,
once we smash over there, I'm gonna just keep it rocking. Once we keep it rocking right there, you know what I mean? Showing you a little.
Now we're out on the bay.
I like to get it for myself. I like to check this video out myself. Let's take a look at the Golden Gate. Might be kind of hard to see it in that, based on the sun is blazing our way. See what I'm looking at? I can see the cars up there on the bridge. Get a view of it. There it is. I see a big ship coming in too. Again, see, I was kind of up on my information.
The ship was already 2 days late when it arrived to the bay. So Captain William Ward decided to proceed.
Take a look right here. Look down right there. Back of the boat.
The ship did not have watertight bulkheads, and it sank in a mere 10 minutes. Many of the 210 passengers on below decks couldn't escape. 128 lives were lost.
They're talking about this side over here. You kind of see the city in the background. There. I wish I was able to zoom in. You can kind of see exactly how big some of the buildings are and whatnot. Buddy out there windsurfing on the bay. Let me see if I can get a. You can probably even see the. I don't know if you can see the Bay Bridge over there.
The sea can be dangerous.
Maybe go this way, yeah.
Out on the water right now. Because one thing
I'm looking towards it.
is
I can't really see the Bay Bridge right there. It's in the background though.
the Great Quake of 1906 began at 12 minutes past 5 a.m.
Go this way here. Walk back to the front. Windsurfer out there surfing the bay.
The quake was bad.
I can't tell you though that the Monterey Bay, that bay was huge and a lot deeper, thousands of feet deep. Again, this the bay here is about 70 feet. The middle of it, I mean, there might be a few parts that may go like 100 feet, but the average, and you know, of course they have like a ship route, a ship channel where that water has to be deep for these ships to come through, at least 60 to 70 feet deep.
28,000 buildings.
So they have a channel or a little highway they have to travel to go through it.
Tens of thousands of San Franciscans lived for months in tents while the city was rebuilt. Damage was awesome.
The history they talking about.
But in just 3 years, 20,000 new buildings went up, and San Francisco was back on its feet again. Its citizens knew that their city could survive just about anything. The Great Quake of 1906, San Francisco's worst earthquake, was certainly not the first, and unfortunately, not the last. Look out the windows toward the city and the Marina District. The earth shook again in October 1989, and it was the Marina District that suffered the greatest damage in that quake. The man-made land reclaimed from the bay rolled like ocean waves, and buildings collapsed into rubble. Stuart Brand was driving his car there when the earthquake struck.
Sound like the judgment to me.
Just happened to be driving down Marina Boulevard. Suddenly I felt the steering had gone out of the car as I was swaying from lane to lane.
Lee Kang Wong was also here during the quake of 1989, which struck right about dinner time.
Dang,
I
I
was just
remember that
about
one.
ready to cook
I
my
was
rice,
a kid.
and all of a sudden,
You know what I mean?
the
Living
walls
in the
and the chandelier
And all the
began
swimming
to
pools and
tremble.
everything.
My husband yelled at me, "There's an
water was
earthquake."
coming out of
I
it.
just up under the dining table.
Old Bay Bridge
I
had
turned on all
collapsed.
the electricity, and we didn't have dinner that night.
It was crazy.
After the gold rush, San Francisco grew into a cosmopolitan city with impressive mansions, grand theaters, and elegant hotels. But the spirit of the first
You and
settlers
I,
still
we all know
echoes
it's
in the area's
super wicked,
Spanish
right?
places. Names such as
We know
San Francisco, for one.
area is super
And
wicked.
there's Tiburon, which is Spanish for shark. Even the name Alcatraz comes from the Spanish name for pelicans, Los Alcatrazes.
Something though, huh?
We're passing another place with a name that came from the Spanish. Over to the left is the island the Spanish call La Isla de Nuestra Señora de los
There it is.
Ángeles,
There's Alcatraz right there.
island of Our Lady of the Angels. Nowadays, we just call it Angel Island. 2,000 years ago, Angel Island was home to the Miwok Indians. The Miwok lived a good life in the small island paradise, hunting in the island's forests and fishing in the bay. Later, the Spanish used it as a military base, and later still, the U.S. Army set up shop. Its open spaces are lined with hiking and bicycling trails, and it is once again an island paradise in the middle of the bay. You can visit it today by taking a blue and gold fleet ferry. But there's another chapter in Angel Island's history that began in the late 1800s, when the United States government built an immigration center on the island. Angel Island became the Ellis Island of the West. For more than 50 years, thousands of Asian immigrants passed through Angel Island. Many of them were held on the island until they could prove that they had relatives already living in the United States.
My name is John Chin. I came here in 1924. I went to the island, what you call Angel Island.
The immigrants were questioned for hours, and their answers were compared with statements made by other family members.
First, they asked my name, my parents'
Where am I
name,
about?
and brothers, sisters, and later on,
So get
asked
Alcatraz
about
going
the
around.
house,
Go ahead, get
how
on.
many doors, how many windows.
The price of a wrong answer was deportation. But today, the old detention center houses a museum, a monument to San Francisco's Asian immigrants, men and women who fought their way past legal barriers and racial prejudice to enjoy America's promise of a brighter future.
That's too hot. Burn my mouth. Scalding hot. Check that out. Look, it's getting closer and closer. Becoming bigger in view. Look at that. The island. Just smashing around the island. Making our way around the island. I'm going to go ahead and sign on. I can't tell you on the ride up. You know, we got the study part 3 of the fullness of the Gentiles. Okay? At 1:30 a.m. I'm not sure who's going to be on there live with us, but the recording will definitely be up, Father willing. And, you know, I'm going to, on the way back to our location where we're going, it's about an hour or so drive, I'm going to rest. I rested on the way up here. Or I should say that. Oh, wait, here we go.
Did you see that one surfer guy?
I did.
The one and only Alcatraz Island. It's directly ahead.
Look at it, guys.
Once, the only creatures that lived on that barren rock were flocks of pelicans. In fact, that's where Alcatraz got its name. The Spanish named the island after the pelicans, Los Alcatrazes. The U.S. Army decided Alcatraz Island was the perfect place for a fort to defend the bay from invaders. But this cold and windy rock was such an unpleasant place that they changed their minds. It was now the perfect place for a military prison, and eventually a federal penitentiary. It was a time when gangsters were becoming heroes to people. The government needed to send a message that crime did not pay. So they created Alcatraz, the very last stop in the country's prison system. The place to send the worst criminals of all.
Yeah, my name is Leon Whitey Thompson. My number was 1465, AZ 1465. I was a man that had total hatred in them days. I hated anything that walked the crawl on this earth. And when you got a man like that in prison, you got to get rid of him. And that's what they did. They shut me down.
That's cool.
These were hard men, kidnappers, bank robbers, killers, men so dangerous that when the first batch arrived by train in 1934 was allowed to step down onto free soil, they simply loaded the train cars, one by one, onto barges, and floated them out to the island with the inmates and Jesus inside. If a man died in Alcatraz, his corpse would leave the same way, stone cold dead, but in chains.
I know it's fishy.
With men like these, you can never be too careful. The building you see on top of the hill is the inmate's new home, the Alcatraz cell house. One described it as a tomb of living souls. Some would stay for a year, others for 20 or 25 years or more.
Yeah, we did a tour through there too.
To get an idea of the accommodations inside, go ahead and reach your arms out as far as you can from side to side. That's how wide an Alcatraz cell is, only 5 feet across.
It truly is.
Now reach your hand up high above your head. That's how tall, and only a bit longer from end to end. The cell house might look huge from here, but it was never completely filled. No more than 300 inmates lived inside at any time. 300. They could all fit on this boat ride today.
More commentary. Straight up. That's real. I think that's what I'm about to conclude. They'll show us no more about it. Unless they're going to drive all the way around this thing. Let's see if they don't go around it.